There is a statement in the Arizal which for various reasons the Chabad Rabbeim seldom spoke of, and that is the Arizal writes that what is causing the exile to stretch on and on and on, and the reason why Moshiach's arrival is being delayed, is because of the sin of chatas ne'orim, or the sin of male masturbation. And if people would only learn to view the intimate area of their life properly, if people would channel their sexual energy in a proper and appropriate way, in a holy way, that would lead to a state of geula that would bring Moshiach. That's what the Arizal says. And God willing, at some point, I will make a very long video covering this topic comprehensively. But for now, just in very short, to explain what does this have to do with Golus, what does this have to do with Moshiach, what is the connection? So basically, what Golus means is when the world and the things in the world are distorted and misrepresented. And therefore, as long as Golus exists, there will always be a deep sense of incongruency. Something just won't feel right. And Moshiach is all about one thing. Moshiach is about revealing the true nature and the true potential in everything and everyone. This is what we call making a dir b'tachtonim, showing how even the lowest elements and the lowest objects and the lowest beings on our planet, which seem to be utterly devoid of anything good and holy and godly, which seem to be completely disconnected from Hashem, are in truth a piece of Hashem. They too are holy, they too are sacred. So for example, this is what makes the land of Israel so holy, this is what makes the land of Israel so special, this is what makes the land of Israel so Moshiachdik. Because if you think about it, the idea of Israel, the idea of having a piece of land, a piece of dirt, which is sacred, is completely ludicrous, because all Israel is, if you think about it, is a giant piece of dirt. It's a glorified pile of mud. And how in the world can mud be holy? How could dirt be sacred? It doesn't make any sense. It's literally what we say, this piece of mud, this is holy mud. But that's precisely what makes Israel so special and makes it so holy, because every other land in the world, every other piece of dirt in the world pushes that very lie. Every other piece of dirt in the world advocates and supports that false narrative. What every other piece of dirt in the world stands for and represents and declares with its existence is that we are only dirt. We are not godly, we are not holy, we are not hallowed, we are not sacred. It is the land of Israel, the Jew of the world, which comes and declares a very different message. The land of Israel represents a very important truth and an eternal truth. And the land of Israel reminds us that no, land is holy, dirt is holy. Not only is dirt not dirty and ungodly and unholy, on the contrary, dirt is very holy, very godly. And in fact, it's only because of dirt, it's only because of the land and through the land and with the land of Israel that we are able to keep so many of the 613 commandments, so many of the mitzvahs, that we are able to connect with Hashem properly. And the land of Israel reminds us that in truth, all land is holy, whether they realize it yet or not, whether we realize it yet or not. And only when Moshiach comes, then the entire world will become Israel. Then we'll see the truth. Then we'll realize how all land always was holy, always is holy, and will always be holy. The land of America is holy. The jungles of Africa are holy. The frozen wastelands of Antarctica are holy. And now bringing this full circle, the Jewish people work the exact same way, because the Jewish people are really just the land of Israel in human form. We're called Am Yisrael, the nation of Israel. And both of us, the land of Israel and the Jewish people, stand for the same ideal, represent the same ideal. And basically the nations of the world, the nations of the other lands, the Goyim, so how they naturally feel about and how they naturally view the body and the body's needs and wants and desires, whether that's eating and drinking, using the bathroom, procreation, is that all these physical and earthly activities, all these salty and materialistic experiences, so they're not holy, they're not godly, at best they're neutral. And when it comes to sexual matters, all too often it's a lot worse than neutral. But comes along the Jewish people, and they again declare a very different message. We remind the world of the truth, and we declare that truth by circumcising every single Jewish boy, thus essentially marking every single Jewish body with Hashem's brand, declaring that this is a godly body, this is a holy body, this is a pure body, this is a special body. And where do we put Hashem's mark? Where do we place God's symbol specifically on the phallus, specifically on the sexual organ, to say that not only is that not a dirty, unholy, shameful organ, on the contrary, it is a holy organ, it is the holiest organ. And when you look at your bris, you should realize that you are looking at a piece of Atzmos. And when you think that when you're looking at a Sefer Torah, you're looking at something holy, the bris is the holiest thing there is. And it is what allows you, it is the only thing in the universe that allows you to connect with Hashem in the deepest, most real, most meaningful way, when you use it correctly in the context of marriage to connect with another human being in the deepest, most real, most meaningful way. And basically, just to conclude, is that since sexual energy is so godly and it's so optimistic, it is the most powerful energy in the world, it's nuclear energy. And it can either be the most harmful and destructive energy in your life and in the world, or it can be the most constructive and positive energy. It can either be the source of so much unhealthiness and darkness, and it could drain you of life and be so debilitating. It could be the source of your personal internal Golus. It could be the source of your feelings of self-estrangement and incongruency. Or it could be the most powerful and positive driving force in your life. It could be the impetus for so much growth. It could be the source of your feelings of self-worth and pride, what allows you to always feel strong and centered and manly. It could be the source of your internal state of geula. And yeah, just one more thought is that it says that women do not need a bris because they are born with a circumcision, they're born with a bris milah. And essentially what that means is that female neshamas come from and embody the energy of Malchus, which is the god of the energy which brings the physical reality into existence. In other words, the god of the energy which realizes that there is no contradiction between Hashem and the physical reality. And because of this, women have naturally a much deeper sense of Eined Milvade. They naturally feel, correctly so, that there is no contradiction between the physical reality and the spiritual, between Hashem and the world. They're much more at peace with the world, much more at home in the world. And because of that, they essentially embody the ideal of bris milah. It's built into who they are, it's in their DNA, and because of that, it takes a lot less active effort for them to internalize this ideal. So Mashiach now, and have a wonderful day.